something within. Oh, yes. Something within me. Something got a hold of the reins. Something within me. Something vanishes pain. Oh, yes. Something within me. Oh, I can explain. Oh, yes. All that I know. Thank God Almighty. There's something within. Oh, yes.
Have you that something, that burning desire? Oh yeah. Have you that something? Oh, set me on fire. Oh yeah. If you have something, oh, I can't explain. Oh yeah. Get in a hurry. Tell everybody there's something within me.
I met God one morning, one Monday morning, could be Tuesday morning, not Tuesday morning, maybe Thursday morning, not Thursday morning, must be Friday morning, yes, Friday morning, so feeling bad, so bad, and a hard, heavy laden. Oh yes, I hung down my head, yes I did,
And he lifted my burden. Oh, make me so glad. Oh, yes, all that I know.
Thank God Almighty,
There's something within. Something within.
God bless you.
You've seen Mel Tillis on television. Mel is a wonderful guy. He's a good singer, and he's a good songwriter, and he's a good musician, and he's a fine feller. But the poor guy can't talk.
He stutters.
You know, he stutters when he talks. When he first came to Nashville, after he got out of the service, he came to Nashville about 56. He was looking for a job. Wouldn't nobody hire him because they figured he couldn't talk, so he couldn't do nothing. Finally, he give up. The poor guy liked to starve to death. He finally went down to the Baptist bookstore down there, you know, where they print Bibles. Told the guy he wanted to sell Bibles, door to door. Guy said, well, Mel, as bad as you stutter, you think you could sell Bibles door to door? Mel said, yes, sir. I believe I could. Guy said, well, I don't know, but I'll give you a crack at it. So he gave him brochures and everything in his briefcase and all of his samples and said, okay, try it. Mel left and he was gone about a month. He never come back. Guy didn't know where he went. Finally, one day, Mel walked in. The fella said, Mel, how did you do? Mel said, well, he said, I sold 142. Guy said, you mean you sold 142 Bibles in a month? That's great. Said, how did you do it? He said, well, he said, I went up and he said, I knocked on the door, and when people come to the door, I'd say, I'm selling Bibles. Would you like to buy a Bible, or do you want me to read it to you? Here's a song that we recorded. Me and Ace and Fred and J.D. recorded this in 1949. We was all in the 3rd grade when we cut this one.
One of my favorites.
See if you remember this one.
He'll understand and say, well done.
If when you give the best of your service, telling the world that the Savior is come, be not dismayed when
Good singing there, brother.
Yeah, hold on. Thank you much. Thank you so much. We got another old timer since we're going back that far, Ed.
This was on the other side.
That's right. About the same time, we got these songs that recorded them. And
These was big records with little bitty holes in them. Wasn't them little records with a big hole. These come out for them little records with the big hole. These are the big ones with a little hole.
I don't know if folks will remember this one or not. It was quite popular back in our day during the 40s and 50s and early 60s.
Take it off, Fred. Why don't you hold off and love me one more time? Oh.
Wrong song.
That's right.
He gets carried away.
Okay.
This is that country station.
I lost my head. Go ahead. Why don't you
Lead me to that rock that is higher than I.
oh,
Lead me to that rock.
yes,
Lead me to that rock.
Why don't you
Lead me to that rock that is higher than I. Thou hast been a shelter for me. Why don't you lead me to the rock that's higher than I? Why don't you lead me to the rock that's higher than I? Why don't you lead me to the rock that's higher than I? Thou hast been a shelter for me.
Why don't you
Lead me to that rock. Lead me to that rock. Lead me to that rock.
yes,
Lead me to that rock. Why don't you lead me to that rock that is higher than I? Thou hast been a shelter for me.
if you go down to yonder fold looking for a sheep,
My brother, thou hast been a shelter for me.
you'll find him there, so I am told, the ones he loves to keep.
My brother, thou hast been a shelter for me. Why don't you lead me to that rock? Lead me to that rock. Lead me to that rock.
Yes, Lord,
Lead me to that rock.
why don't you
Lead me to that rock that is higher than I. Thou hast been a shelter for me. Why don't you lead me to the rock that's higher than I? Why don't you lead me to the rock that's higher than I? Why don't you lead me to the rock that's higher than I? Thou hast been a shelter for me. Why don't you lead me to that rock? Lead me to that rock.
yes, lead me, yes, Lord,
Lead me to that rock. Why don't you lead me to that rock that is higher than I? Thou hast been a shelter for me.
Oh, we just carried you back 40 years. How long ago we were doing that song? 1949.
1949, 50, 51. That was back in the Riley Smith days in Asheville.
when Riley was
when
there.
Riley used to hold them singings over there.
Let's get up
We
in the
used to have-
50s. We've been in 49 now for about 4 songs.
You know, we got a feller backstage here, really, that I know you folks is going to remember. And he used to sing, he sung tenor with the Harmoniers Quartet for 863 years.
864.
And he's the only feller that's bigger than Fred. And, I mean, he's a lot bigger than Fred. And this guy is funny. I mean, he's really funny. He's a good singer and everything. And he's a nice feller to go along with it. And we're going to bring him out here right now and see if we can't work up something. We ain't rehearsed nothing. We just talked about it a few minutes ago. And we decided what song we was going to sing.
Announce him.
Happy Edwards. Everybody give him a big hand.
Happy Edwards. Y'all remember Hap? Great talent, great voice.
Me and Happy was standing back there talking a few minutes ago, and Fred said, you know, we ought to get together. Me and Happy just decided what he was going to sing. He told me what he'd like to sing. Fred walked up and said, reckon we ought to rehearse. Happy said, me and Ed just rehearsed.
Yeah.
So we just rehearsed that. So Happy, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hello to everybody. Amen. I want to say one thing about Eddie. I love you, Eddie. I knew Eddie's father and mother, and I love them too. I love his family. They're tremendous people. I love all of them. He's got one of the sweetest wives you've ever known in your life. She takes care of Eddie. She irons his clothes. Yeah, she does. Cooks for him. She really takes care of him. And what he sees in that old bag he's running around with, I'll never know.
I like you too, Happy. Hap, what do you want to sing?
That'll be all right.
That'll be all right? Okay. We recorded one.
That'll be all right.
That'll be all right. That'll be all right. That'll be. Oh, I don't believe I know that. We recorded one back
I'll
in
have
19.
to do one, Eddie, that I believe you fellows recorded this with the great Red Foley about way back yonder. Yeah. I don't even remember the date, but it was a long time ago.
About 1951.
Cut up Hap just a little bit, Doug.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
oh,
better.
hey.
Hello, he's there.
Yeah. Glad to see you. You're looking better. Don't laugh, lady. You may raise one that looks just like me. You don't know. I've lost some weight, though. I'm looking better. Yeah. I can take a shower now and get my knees wet. Boy, I'm scratched.
You didn't really lose it, Happy. It's all behind you.
Well, I tell you, I measured just before I came down here. I was over at the hotel and I measured, and I was taller laying down than I was standing up. Let's do Peace in the Valley.
Oh, well, I'm tired and so weary, but I must go along till the Lord comes and calls me away. Oh, yes, the morning so bright, and the Lamb is the light, and the night is as black as a sea. Oh, yes, there will be peace in the valley for me someday. Yes, there will be peace in the valley for me. Oh, Lord, I pray there be no sadness, no sorrow, no trouble I see. There will be peace in the valley for me, for me.
Well, the bear will be gentle, and the wolf, he will be tame, and the lion shall lay down by the lamb. Oh, yes, and the beast of the wild
Sing it, Hap. Sing it.
shall be led by a little bitty child, and I'll be changed, yes, changed from this creature that I am. Oh, yes.
There will be peace in the valley for me someday. Yes, there will be peace in the valley for me. Oh, Lord, I pray there be no sadness, no sorrow, no trouble I see. There will be peace in the valley for me, for me.
Hap Edwards, ladies and gentlemen.